Hey guys, it's Danielle, and today I'm going to talk to you about my NCLEX anti-horror story. So, mine is the anti-horror story because honestly, it wasn't even that scary. I'm going to tell you a couple things first. Taking the test, you have to register and everything has to be like government official. They have to have your signature and your fingerprints, and I guess that's where like the freak out moment starts, when people start to register for this test. Oh my gosh, I have to go get my fingerprints to be sure that it's actually me. Like, oh my gosh, this is so scary. It's not. So after you register and you get your fingerprints all sent in and whatever, you get this email called your authorization to test. You get that, you're like, oh my gosh, things just got real. I gotta register for my test. And then you pick a location and a time. I took mine at 11 and it was all fine and dandy. I was probably one of the last people in my class to take the NCLEX. I know because of jobs and stuff, most people took it as soon as they could. I waited like a month and a half. I was like, yo, literally, I just got finished with hell on earth. So I'm gonna relax and take my time. There's no rush. So I got to the testing facility. It was this real big, giant building. We walked in, and I took my mom with me. We're walking in, and I was like, oh yeah, is this such and such building? And the guy was like, no. And I was like, oh, well, and he was like, well, what are you here for? And I was like, oh, I'm here to take the NCLEX. And he was like, oh yeah, you're in the right building. We just don't refer to it as blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. So I get in there, I walk through the doors, and the lady that was behind the desk was so nice. I swear she was like somebody's grandma, like, oh hi, how are you? Okay, after you get done testing, I baked some cookies and I brought them, you know, feel free to eat them. She was so nice. So I walk up to the counter, I'm like, yo, what's up? My name's Danielle, I'm here to take the NCLEX. And she was like, oh, okay, read this. You had to read this front and back, laminated piece of paper. These are all the rules, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, and then so she had to so then she had to scan my handprint and got all my fingerprints and whatever. All fine and dandy. And then, some of the things that they don't tell you when you get there is not everybody there is taking the same test as you. I walked in, there was maybe like 6 people in there. Didn't really count, didn't really matter. I know one girl was in there and it looked like she was taking math tests, like literally like there was a graph and coordinates, and I was like, ooh, that looks bad. I feel sorry for you. Yeah, so I get to my cubicle. And they do tell you that they're gonna like record you while you're testing to be sure that you're not cheating. I was thinking it was gonna be like this big giant camera like sitting right in front of me, staring me down as I was taking my test. It wasn't like that. It was on the ceiling. Didn't even notice it was there. You also have to have empty pockets. I didn't know that. Well, I mean, like, I thought, obviously I wasn't going there to cheat, but I didn't think that you literally had to show them that your pockets were empty. The only thing that you're allowed to take in there is your ID and your locker key. Oh, and another thing, your cell phone. I knew I wasn't going to be able to take it in there, like, duh. But I did not know that you literally had to put your phone inside this, like, plastic baggie. And what they do with it is you have to turn it off. You can't even, like, put it on silent and then stick it in there. Literally, it has to be off. So the lady had to sit there and wait for 10 years while my phone turned off. And I put it inside the baggie, and then they, like, close it. And then it has, like, this sticky, like an envelope kind of sticky thing, and they pull it off and they seal it. And they say, do not put your phone back in your purse, you have to leave it in your locker, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So I put it in there, you know, I lock it up, and then they do that to be sure that you don't access your phone while you're testing, because you do get a break 2 hours into your test. Yeah, so I put it in my locker, blah, 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 ready to go. I sit down, and the one thing that really bothered me about this test was the computer screen was literally like, it was huge. It was this big giant, it wasn't like a normal desktop. I swear, like, the screen was twice the size that it should have been. And the seat that I was sitting in, you couldn't raise the chair height, you know. So I'm literally sitting like this, trying to take my test, and the font on that screen, oh my gosh, it was literally like this big. I'm not even kidding. So I'm sitting like this, looking at this big, fat, giant font, taking this test, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Yeah, I had 142-ish questions. I didn't really look. I got to my 85, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, anything after this screen's gonna shut off at any point in time. You know, every question's my last question. And then I got to like 90 something, and it was like, computer screen's like, oh, you know what, you can take your 2-hour break now. And I was like, no. and you sit down at your desk, and it's like a big giant like office cubicle. So there's no clock in there. I didn't even know 2 hours had passed by. You know, it felt like maybe it had been 20 minutes, maybe, and it was like, oh, it's been 2 hours. Like, what? And I got to like 140 something, and the computer shut off, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm done. Another thing that they don't tell you is after you're done testing, you have to take a survey. They decide after you take the most important test of your life, let's answer a survey. So the survey ended up being like 16 questions. Was the facility easy to find? Were your proctors nice? Did you blah blah blah? And I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. I want to get out of here. Let's go. So then that was that. After your survey's over, you know, you can't leave. So I had to like raise my hand like I'm in 2nd grade, like, yo, what's up? I'm ready to leave. And then the same nice lady came back in there. You had to sign out that you were leaving. That was basically it. You know, I got my cell phone, I had to show them my ID, and they cut the bag. Okay, well, you didn't access your phone, you know, here's your phone back, you can leave. So then I leave, and I'm calling my mom, I'm like, okay, I'm done. And it really wasn't that bad. I mean, I've heard horror stories about just, you name it, how it was so awful. The only thing I can say about the test is it was really long, and I felt that way about my finals in school too. Like, once you get past like 100 questions, I'm one of those people, yes, I'm answering the question, but I'm just like, what am I going to eat for lunch? What time is it? Oh my gosh, I've been sitting here forever, you know, like, the test was just really long for no reason. And I got bored with it. Like, can we make it less questions? That's the only, like, bad thing I can say about the test. Oh, also, I only had one drug calculation. I was so mad about that. I was like, yeah, I'm getting in this. I'm gonna have so many drug calculations, and I know this. I'm good. It's golden. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I literally had one drug calculation. And then I had one question was, my horror question, I guess you could say, was, your patient has this disease, blah, blah, blah. I had no idea what it was, never heard of it, couldn't even break it down. I literally had no idea. And they're on relapse. What drug do they need to take? The 4 choices were 4 drugs I never even heard of before. So I sat there and I was just kind of like, you know what, I don't know the answer, B, move on. You know, it wasn't that big of a deal. And then they also tell you, oh yeah, you need to know Lasix and digoxin. Like, that is the drug on the NCLEX. And my instructor was like, I guarantee you digoxin is gonna be on your NCLEX. Well, guess what? You lied because it wasn't on there. I was so prepared. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna study digoxin and it's gonna be on there and I'm gonna know the answer. No, it wasn't even on there. And yeah, that was basically it. So this was my NCLEX anti-horror story. I hope you like it. Have a good week and God bless. Bye.